Travis Wayne Goodsell. It's so cute and adorable when a woman has a crush on a guy, because even if the guy is completely ugly and stupid, anything he does is perfect. Anything he says is perfect. And so when our emotions get the better of us, we tend to have blinders on, and we reinterpret things. That could also be why women have crushes on bullies, tough guys, or the bad guy. Well, when it comes to religion, it has the same effect. There are field-specific terms and words that are in every career field, including religion. So, for example, the first lawsuit I did, my request for relief was to have the defendant sell everything, I get the check, or two, do a transfer of ownership. I didn't know back then what the legal terminology was, but I knew the definition of what I was looking for. And so the legal terminology is liquidate and vesting of title, as I've since found out. And in other career fields, like psychology, which is a pseudoscience, it's a fake science, they use the title of doctor, as they can even have psychiatrists who can prescribe drugs. But the field is fake. They're not doctors. They are doctors in the sense that they got a doctorate degree from school. That's where the terms change for the particular field. But psychologists, they won't come out and say, oh yeah, I'm not a real scientist in my field. That would blow their cover. They would lose revenue, and they'd have to look for something else. Their whole education had been wasted. And that's where knowing how things work, rather than memorizing the terms for the specific field, can give a person a greater advantage. For example, I bump my head and I'm feeling a little dizzy and my speech is slurred. Do I go to a psychologist or do I go to a medical doctor? I go to a medical doctor. If I go to a psychologist, the psychologist will have me sit on a couch and I'll be rambling incoherent stuff, and then after hearing me speak incoherently, they'll diagnose me as having a mental illness, and they'll prescribe psychotropic drugs to experiment as to what will stop my incoherent speech. Whereas if you went to a medical doctor, they do x-rays, take blood work, do other forms of hard science measurements to identify the causal problem, the malady. Whereas psychologists don't even bother to look. That's why they're a pseudo-science. They're fake. And yet, because they have field-specific terms, they're able to fool the government. They're able to fool the courts. They can go in as expert witnesses. Oh yeah, Brian David Mitchell, oh, he's mentally ill. Oh man, a Messiah complex, all that stuff. He's crazy. We'll take care of him in the state hospital. That's what happened. But Elizabeth Smart's dad, with his connection to Orrin Hatch stepped in and said, nope, he's not going to get a cushy life in a mental asylum where he'll be tortured and experimented with drugs. That's not good enough. He needs prison. And so the federal government stepped in. They had to reevaluate him. Magically, he's cured. Yeah, the whole thing's a fraud. We should be judging people based on their acts. If they take away life, liberty, and property of another person, you gotta do the time for the crime. However, religion also is pulling a con on Mormons. As I constantly see channels calling themselves gospel truth, truth and light, gospel doctrine, all attempts to mask people's identity so that they can deceive people into saying, oh, a channel of light and truth, oh, that must be Mormon. And it is, especially when you see the titles of the videos associated with the channel name. But you never find out the guy's name who's speaking. That's the deception. Why can't you just let us know who you are? Because that's important. But people say, oh, no, the message is what's important. No, the messenger is also important. Because if we know that you're Travis Wayne Goodsell, we're going to stay far away from your video. But they get a lot of suckers and losers, shall we say. As somebody very famous and about to, well, he's infamous. Let's call it as it is. But those usage of religious terms are a code, a secret code to those within the religion. Now, we understand that that's a naughty no-no. Don't we, Mormons? Because, once I pull up my scriptures here, Book of Mormon, Helaman. Oh, you didn't get that far? You couldn't get past Isaiah? Too bad, so sad. Because here we go. And then we get down to verse 22. Chapter 6, verse 22 of Helaman. And it came to pass that they, it's the Gadianton band, formed by Kishkumen and Gadianton, did have their signs, yea, their secret signs, and their secret words, and this that they might distinguish a brother who had entered into the covenant, that whatsoever wickedness his brother should do, he should not be injured by his brother. And so, yes, in my particular lawsuit, I'm seeing the defense counsel using those secret signs and words to the judges, and have been exposing that, calling it a threat to the judges to drop the case, my case against them. And so I won. It's just now the judge has to decide, okay, do I take them down or do I risk having them murder me for taking them down? And they all side with them instead of me. And that's a big problem, because you're not good if you have to do evil and deceive. See, this is the sad part about people who want to be a certain identity. And we'll go back to our childhood rather than talking about the more pertinent issue. As children, we fantasize about being different people. Superheroes or Disney princesses or whatever we have watched recently. I remember when people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, at one point in time, because I was watching the cartoon Popeye the Sailor, wanted to be a sailor. Had no idea what a sailor was other than what Popeye showed me it was. And then other times, it was a police officer, because I probably saw Chips or something like that. And then a private investigator with Thomas Magnum PI. And so, as we immerse ourselves into the shows or the movies, as we go to the theater record-breaking number of times, like Titanic, you had all those people that were going back 18 times, 30 times to watch the movie, to see if the ending changes. And even with Star Wars, that was where I would have wanted to go over and over again. But with my cousins, we made sure to go on the first day of opening day, standing in the long lines. And when you start thinking that you're Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia, and hopefully, as we were all surprised in later sequels, they're brother and sister. But we start acting and behaving like them until we start thinking we are them, and little kids are more susceptible to that. No, I want to be a princess. I'm a princess. Listen, princess. Take off your dress, put on your jammies. It's time for bed. I'm a princess. And people get so engrossed in an alternate character that they use the terms from the movie. Oh, Melissa was so cute as a little 1.5-year-old. Well, no, I think she was almost 3 or somewhere around 3. She had just watched Cinderella. I had it on VHS. And there's the scene where Cinderella is told she can't go to the ball until she finishes the chores, and they pile all the chores on her. And then so she runs out weeping onto the back balcony and collapses on the little bench out there. And so one time Melissa gets caught with something. Her mother caught her doing something. I have no idea what it was. I was told to make a parental stand with her against our daughter. So Stephanie asked her, "What did you do? Do you know what you did?" "No." And I could see she was purposely lying because she didn't want to get in trouble, because she thought that she was going to get in trouble, and the fear of trouble was more than telling the truth. And so, yeah, she pulled that stunt from Cinderella. And with religion, it's that same way. You go to church week after week, you hear the hymns, you listen to the talks, you listen to conference, you read your scriptures when you're at home, and you think that the Spirit can only happen if you immerse yourselves in the scriptures, and you're constantly praying, and you're going to church, and you're going to the temple. and you lose track that, hey, wait a minute, the Spirit is in, all through, all around, all about, all through, and on top of all, underneath all. It's everywhere. So if the Spirit is everywhere, and we have all these lists of things to do, which are field specific, praying to feel the Spirit, reading to feel the Spirit, going to church to feel the Spirit, and you get Mormons who start thinking, oh, it's been so long since I've gone to church, if only we could have church 2 times a week, like we did in the olden days, where Relief Society would be during the week as well as primary to take care of the kids while mothers were at Relief Society on Wednesdays, I think, for most cases. But people are brainwashed. This is a brainwashing technique where even with the psychologists, they use their big fancy terms, and oh, you've got 2020 election anxiety. Oh, you better come and see me immediately. Pay me $100 an hour for once a week visit. Isn't it interesting how are most people cured by now? Not quite. But again, that's an external force. That's not an internal mental illness. They tried to deceive everyone. They tried to deceive everyone with the coronavirus when everybody was stuck at home near the beginning. They tried to say, oh, you need to call us if you've got mental problems. And they all pretend that they want to help, just like religion. You had Nelson getting up on Friday of the 20th, so last Friday, and doing that video where he then says, be grateful. He doesn't solve anybody's problems. He pulls a fake science act as he claims he's a scientist, as he claims gratitude for the scientists and real medical doctors. And he pulls a psychological manipulation. And yeah, lots of people fell for it. It's over 1 million views. Probably over several million views by now. He deceived you. And you fell for it, and you're upset with me because I'm exposing him. I'm exposing the con. And you're upset with me. Just like in Helaman. Because, let's see, and whosoever of those who belonged to their band, that's B, should reveal unto the world their wickedness, that's me, and their abominations, hey, that's me too, should be tried, not according to the laws of their country, but according to the laws of their wickedness, which has been given by Gadianton and Kishkumen. It is contrary to the laws of their country and also the laws of their God. Mormons know they are not to attack, not to disregard me. To shun is the term that everybody knows that Mormons pull, and flock to those who use generalization words, who do not get specific. For example, a Light and Truth channel guy for Mormonism did a video about how Nelson talked about the Book of Mormon, how Nephi saw us in our day. And that was his title. And Yeah. Tens of thousands of views. And all he did was go over his talk for an hour. Reading it. Very boring. I gave up after the first frame to see what it was about. I wasn't going to, but it won't go away until I click on it. But then if I click on it, then they bring up other videos by this Light and Truth guy. Yeah. YouTube sucks. Could be done a whole lot better. But they want money. And the church pays them a lot of money. But that's what Nelson pulled in his talk as well, back in April. He just read from the scriptures, and all Mormons went, "Oh, wow, new revelation from President Nelson." Because that's what his video title was about. Russell M. Nelson said that they saw our day. Wow. No, the Book of Mormon says they saw our day, not Nelson. But again, this guy gets tens of thousands of views from people who don't bother to read their Book of Mormon, who just want to hear fluffy, warm feelings. Not some critic who's angry, who's exposing wickedness and abominations of their church. Our church guys, remember, I'm Mormon. Oh, no, you're not, Travis. No, you're an apostate. See, again, field-specific terms. You're trying to attack and abuse me with your abusive comments and words, name-calling. So, if I were to put down exposing wickedness and abominations of the LDS Church, secret signs, secret words, versus if I were to put the title, Light and Truth of the Gospel of Mormonism, which do you think will have a greater impact on Mormons and their desire to click on this video? Should we try it? Should I do this video 2 times with the 2 different titles? Let's try it and find out. But understand, brainwashing utilizes generalizations and rewording and oftentimes redefining of words. Religion does a lot of redefining, as Mormons think that faith and belief are separate. They're both from pistos. And if you're going like, what? What's pistos? Exactly, it's Greek.